Yay! I'm glad. I'm so happy to have you. So, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Molly, and I run the Instagram, TikTok, and I guess Substack account, Style Analytics, which covers data-driven or data-informed fashion insights. And sometimes it's just commentary, like me giving my opinion, but I would say 80% of the posts revolve around data and insights.
Okay, cool. So, let's get into like your fashion inspiration. So, why do you love fashion?
Why do I love fashion? I actually didn't think about this question too much. I think for me, it's just always been, I mean, this is such a generic answer, but just a way of expressing myself and being able to, even I think growing up, I was quite shy, but some ways that I could always feel confident was by putting on an outfit that I really love and how it affects the mood, and how it affects how you're feeling. And so it has always been sort of like an armor for me where okay, I might not feel very cool or I might not feel very confident, but if I put on a great outfit, that kind of helps helps work those feelings out.
Totally. Do you have a favorite designer?
Yeah, I think Alexander McQueen was sort of I think seeing the Iria collection in 2010 was the collection that made me get into fashion in the first place. I mean, I love what Sarah Burton and Sean McGurr have done. But it doesn't really match what Alexander McQueen was doing himself when he was directing the label. But yeah, I would say his work is my favorite.
I love that. Yeah, like he's my top two. It's like Alexander McQueen and Vivienne Westwood. It's so cool to get into fashion and then, see like the progression, but then also see like, Sarah Burton and then be there and then like move on and then see her new collection this season and then
Yeah.
a new person for Alexander McQueen. And, you hear about these things when you're not involved, like, or when you're younger and you don't really grasp
Hmm.
it, but then to see like
Hmm.
the houses change, like as an
Hmm.
adult who's like doing it like in your fashion career, it's really interesting to like see that and be a part of that like change in a way. It's really really interesting.
Yeah. And even just following the lines, because when I was a teenager and I was sort of getting into fashion, you just think Dior, you just think Dolce and Gabbana, you just think whatever the big brands were in the twins. But then I think, have you seen that post from, I think the account is Must Be Margiela, and she's basically mapped out all of the creative directors that have gone to all the different houses. And I just think that's so crazy how you could really fall in love with the designer. Like I also really love Jean-Paul Gaultier. And then figuring out that, oh, he also designed at Hermes for a while and seeing like what his vision for that brand would be like is such a nice deep dive to do on Vogue Runway.
Yeah, definitely. No, I saw that too, and it's like it's literally. I'll post it in the video, but it's literally like a spider web of like this person here, this person there, and it's really cool because like maybe you're like, oh, I really like Jean Paul Gaultier, but I only really like this year. It's like, oh, maybe you like this designer from like this time or something. So let's get into it. So, how did style analytics start?
I was working, and I still work a 9 to 5, so style analytics is just like a side, it's like a hobby. And so I was working within market and consumer research at a digital agency, and I started it. It'll be 2 years in May. And I was doing consumer research for a lot of finance and tech companies, and I was feeling a bit bored. It was a lot of like employer branding stuff for finance companies, basically. And I wasn't feeling super inspired by my job. So I was thinking, okay, if I could do consumer and market research, because I love sort of learning about people through data, and if I could do that in any industry, what would it be? And then, okay, fashion, because I was super into fashion as a kid and as a teenager, but then pursued a career more in STEM or like, data. And so then I was looking for jobs in my city, which is Amsterdam, where I could work in fashion and data together. And I just wasn't really finding those, or if I found one, it was really narrow, like web analysis positions and stuff. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to do my dream job as if it was my job and post it on Instagram because my dream job doesn't exist in my city, or maybe it doesn't exist anywhere. So I'm just going to do my dream job for fun, and then maybe something will come out of it. But it was really just uh, out of a need to do my dream job and not really having a place to put that energy.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's totally relatable. And I feel like some of the best content or things like we see on social media is that kind of, I don't live in the place or I don't have the access or like I don't have gym or I don't have these things, but I'm still going to do it anyways, regardless. So are you from Amsterdam or?
No, I'm from Canada, actually. So, where am I from in Canada? I say like two different places. Both are pretty remote. So, one is Seaforth, so that's in southern Ontario, in kind of farmland about 2 hours from Toronto. And then when I was a teenager, we moved up to North Bay, which is about 5 hours north of Toronto, but always kind of the Ontario rural area.
Okay, all right. Do you go to fashion events in Amsterdam or anything like that?
I have, so there is Amsterdam Fashion Week. I've never gone. Think because style analytics is faceless, I don't think people invite me to things, because I don't really do commentary on high fashion as much, or when I do, those videos never do well. So, I mean, I still do it like I'm working on a video right now about like people's perceptions of Sarah Burton's debut. But I do have a really good relationship with a lot of vintage stores and vintage resellers here in Amsterdam. And so there's a lot of cool pop-up events that happen and or like thrift markets or people will do like a store opening. So I tend to get invited to those kind of events, not necessarily to provide them with publicity, but just because I have good connections within vintage in the city, I would say, but not really like the high fashion Amsterdam Fashion Week stuff. I don't really go to.
Do you want to do that stuff eventually? I think you could totally have a presence in like Fashion Week.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the dream. I got invited to my first Paris Fashion Week show this spring. I couldn't go because it was like on a Monday, invited like 2 days before, and I was like, well, I have to work, even though it's like a short train from Amsterdam. But yeah, I definitely love to do more stuff at Fashion Week. I just think, yeah, my content doesn't lend because I don't necessarily do commentary, and it's not like I'm a face to the brand. So, my presence there, people wouldn't know who I am.
Mhm.
So I feel like the type of content I do doesn't necessarily lend itself very well to Fashion Week events, but I would, of course, die to go. So maybe eventually, that's kind of a goal.
Yeah, I feel like, as you like build and like try new things too, like people
Mhm.
will see like the interest. So, like, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but like, for instance, when you were first starting the account, was there something where you were like, well, I have something here, like, this is like hitting?
Um,
I always ask
Not
them, like, what was
really.
that moment? Really?
I don't, yeah, okay. There was one moment, it was not even fashion, but I did a video on the lipstick index, which is this theory that people buy more lipstick during recessions. And then that video did super well really quickly. I think I got like 20,000 followers just from one video. And then it really showed me that, oh, people don't want to know just about trends and aesthetics that are trending online, but they really want that kind of more in-depth knowledge about how fashion reflects culture and economics. And so now I do a bit of both. And I'm really thankful to my audience that they're also interested in not just here's what's trending, but that kind of deeper analysis. So I would say that was a really big turning point, but that was a year and a half into making content. So it wasn't super early on.
Okay, yeah. Because I mean, that's like important to know because like a lot of people, including myself, are like in this boat sometime where like maybe you'll have like a one little thing that's like successful or like this or that. And like for some people, it's like the turning point is like really obvious and instant, like in the beginning. But then for other people, it's
Yeah.
like consistency is kind of like the key.
Yeah, definitely. I think I was making a lot of content for a long time without anybody really seeing it. So, yeah, consistency definitely helps.
Yeah, that's so funny. I mean, it's kind of like the story behind everyone is like I've failed more times than you've even tried. Like, like that whole mind. I mean, what's interesting is so cool to me to see because I don't really think you think about these numbers until it kind of happens for you where one
Mhm.
video can like get you your main following like overnight
Mhm.
if you but that takes like time and repetition and kind of building like the foundation.
Honestly, actually, like if I thought about the numbers too much, it would totally freak me out. I actually have a bit of, I mean, it would be good if I could be like, oh yeah, I should present this as if, 100,000 people are going to see it. But I'm actively, when I'm posting, I'm like, ah, whatever, like those people don't exist. And then I'll see someone that I know like it or comment, and I'm like, oh my God, people are actually seeing this. So yeah, it's something I try to not think about just to save myself a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Like, yeah, many eyes and gets like a little stressful. Okay,
Yeah.
so can you explain to me exactly like what is style analytics? Like, what is the process? Like, how do you get your information? Like, what is that? Because I'm a tech person, but I'm not like a tech person, you know?
It kind of I don't really have a process actually. It's literally like a notes app. It's the notes app in my phone, and I literally write down ideas. Like I'll see things in the street and I'll be like, "Oh, are polka dots trending? I'll check that later." Or, "Oh, it would be really cool to analyze like the topics and sentiment that they're experiencing towards this campaign or this designer debut or something like that." And so it is sort of these like things that I'm observing and then thinking, oh, let's check the data on that. Is some, for example, I use the Google Trends API and it'll scrape a bunch of search terms related to maybe it's 50 luxury fashion brands or maybe it's what is happening within the fashion category. And then I can understand there's a spike in people searching for X kind of product or X kind of designer and then investigate it that way. Like, oh, why is Marc Jacobs trending right now? Like, what's going on over there? So there's sort of two different directions, either observations and checking it in the data, or there's a few methods of getting a lot of data and then checking why specific things are trending.
Mhm.
And then also, I do have access to some social listening tools that kind of scrape the entire internet. So I might be like, what is, evaluating the success of a rebrand or a certain campaign and seeing if those mentions have gone up. So yeah, there's a few different ways. It's not like I think people have this misconception that I'm some crazy software engineer that is getting like pings every time something is trending. It's a lot more kind of organic than that.
Yeah, I could see that because I mean, like I live in New York City, so sometimes I'll be like here's a perfect example, like the red tight trend of like last year. Like it was funny
Mhm.
because online I was seeing red tight, red tight, red tight, but then I would see like two red tights like walking around in the city or something, you know, and I'd
Yeah.
be like, oh, they're following the red tight trend of TikTok, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like weird because you can kind of like organically pick up on it. And, you know, I noticed this like, especially in New York in the winter when everyone's wearing like the same coat and the same shoes, you know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Cause like then you can be like, this has got to be a trend. The data has to reflect it somewhere, you know?
Yeah, I think I've done sort of funny. So one time I had that question because I was on TikTok and I was like, why the heck is every video I'm seeing these like mustard yellow fry boots? Like I've never seen that. I've never heard of this brand. I've never seen it in person, but like video after video, people wearing these boots. And then I did check the data and it could be localized just to the US. So it was a trend that was happening only in the US. And then I made a video about it because I was like, yeah, I haven't seen this in person, but it's because it's trending only in the US. So
That's
it
so
is kind of
crazy.
funny with these TikTok trends.
Yeah, that's so funny because, like, you know, because like TikTok and real life or like social media in real life, it's like in New York, you can tell because everyone's relatively trendy. But if you were to go outside of New York, you're like, oh, that person's on TikTok because they like dress like a certain way or they're like have this
Yeah.
style or like something that's like not true to like the town style, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's like really interesting. Yeah, I was gonna, one of my questions I did write down, but then I got rid of was like, is it like, are trends like specific to like place? And like, you know, like, why do you think it's like one spot might have like this yellow boot trend versus like another?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's getting a bit messier now because, as you said, someone might see something on TikTok and start wearing it. Maybe someone in Amsterdam, for example, if I started wearing the mustard yellow fry boots, and then I'm picking up on a trend that I would have never known about had it not be had I not seen it on TikTok.
Mhm.
But I think that's just probably how fashion used to work. I feel like you used to have a lot more distinct identities pre-social media per city that you would go to. And now it does seem to amalgamate a little bit more. Like I go in between Amsterdam and Copenhagen, for example, and you do notice differences, but you do notice like, oh, there's a lot of, I don't know, platform Uggs and fur coats, for example. And that might have not happened previously before social media when each city could develop trends sort of on its own. I don't know, I feel like I look at, old movies when people would do ground research for especially, I don't know, it used to be called like cool hunting,
Yeah.
which is like on the ground trend research, and people would go into different communities or different cities. Where now, in order to do that, it's still a good idea to do that, of course, but you could also just go on TikTok. Or maybe that's not as accurate.
Definitely. Like as I'm on the subway, I'm in my peacoat, I'm in my Adidas Sambas, and then I look over and there's like five other girls in the Adidas, like you know what I mean? And I'm like,
Yeah.
like the internet is making us dress the same. Like, what do you think as someone who like reports on trends, like what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it makes my job easier, but it is like a little bit, it's so strange because for me, I'm just kind of analyzing whatever data I have about fashion. And it happens to be that the data that people are most interested in is trends. And so it does feel like sometimes, I perpetuate that of like ice blue is trending. And then, you see a lot more ice blue popping up or the ice blue tights. Or I was definitely making videos about the red tights, last year or in 2023 or whatever.
Mhm. That's what I found
And
too.
it is, oh, really?
Think so. One of those like quick trends of like 2023 or something or 2024, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, I used to do, yeah, it was like every 2 seconds, different trend, and it would just be like 10 trends, which
Yeah.
is nuts that I did that. But yeah, I think trends can definitely serve as inspiration, and I love consuming fashion content and trend content, but then also being conscious of, what do you actually want to be wearing? What is sustainable for you to wear? Can you thrift it instead of buying something new and disposable? So I do try to, even though I talk about trend content a lot, try to remind my audience, you don't have to buy this, or if you want to, maybe thrift it.
Yeah, because that's like leads into a question I was going to ask about like what is the goal? Like obviously you want to report on trends and you want to like share to people like what you're finding, but like is it like conscious consumer spending? Is it just to report trends? Is it to like, what did I write? Like just kind of foster like fashion conversations or like critiques? Like what's the goal you would like to accomplish by sharing this data?
Honestly, I started doing this because I found it interesting, and then other people found it interesting. And then it's really fun when I get a DM of someone being like, oh, what you said about this sort of economic relationship to this piece of fashion commentary. I found that connection really interesting. So, sort of facilitating those conversations. Just, I don't really have, unfortunately, I have my values like thrifting and sustainability, and I try to push those as much as I can,
Yeah.
but I realize that sometimes reporting trend content doesn't always align with that. So I don't think I have some sort of higher moral goal other than just sharing what I find interesting and then engaging in conversations with people who also find this aspect of fashion interesting.
Yeah. It's cool because I talk to a lot of people and sustainability is kind of like they do their thing and then sustainability is like second on the list if it's not the first
Mhm.
thing. And I just recently spoke to someone who's like does fashion tech. That's like her like account is all things fashion tech. And a lot of the startups she like shows to her community because she like shares like tech jobs is like sustainability. And this could be like something like we edit out of the podcast, but I just had like an idea of like there's a lot of these like startups are all like vintage refined like or how to organize like vintage or like thrift and I feel like that could be like such a cool like function of like, oh, like let's just take the red tights example, you're like red tights are trending, like maybe this brand like this refinder like found like dead stock like tights or something, and then it's like,
Yeah,
like you can like pair it up in a way where like, oh, you like this trend? Here's all the vintage shit besides just like going to look on eBay, or like
yeah,
something, like I think a lot of people are thinking like that way, like trying to reduce, reuse, recycle instead of
mhm,
like just go buy the red tights from Amazon, which is like
yeah.
the cash grab, I guess. But there's lots of interesting tech that's coming out that I could totally see like your account and them in the future maybe working together, just like an interesting like potential future like sustainability.
I would love to partner with like whether it's something like a Vinted or a Depop and kind of, yeah, reporting the trends that are happening on within their data and then saying, and you can go buy it there. or kind of, as you said, these other, I know that there's a few plugins, like FIA is one where you can, if you are shopping on a normal website, like Essence or something, and then it can find you the vintage version in the pop-up, or like a similar version secondhand on like a Depop or a Poshmark or something like that. So honestly, I would be super happy because it is very close to my values. I would be super happy to partner with a company like that.
Yeah, no, and then it's just like it just kind of makes it like no brainer because like let's say you're a mom but you want to look cute, like you've got the platform like UGG hookup, you're gonna just get
Mhm.
it off Amazon because you want to just, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah.
that is like, hey, ding ding, like, you know, this is like secondhand or whatever, and your like values align with that, then like of course it just makes it like easier to do so. No, that's
Yeah.
really interesting. Yeah, I think it's like a really interesting like time with like fashion tech and AI and like how that's gonna like help sustainability. Do you use
Mhm.
you mentioned you use AI? Do you like using AI? Like what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's not a regular part of my workflow. I do use it for certain types of data analysis. It's the paid version of ChatGPT. You can feed it a data set, ask it to do an analysis, whether it's like a regression or a correlation or a t-test or something like that. And it can do it for you, which saves me some programming time. Or also, if I'm doing a sort of commentary video, for example, I want to analyze the sentiment and topic, like most common topics around Sarah Burton's debut at Givenchy or whatever, and then I can feed all of the data on comments into ChatGPT, and it can output the sentiment score, and then the key topics that are happening in the conversation. It's not always perfect. Sometimes, depending on how your conversation has been going so far, it'll tell you the topics it thinks you want to see rather than what's actually happening in the data. So then that's when I have to go and I program in like R and Python and use kind of my more traditional methods of data analysis. But there is sort of ways that I'm finding to fit it in. But I know that, someday, or there is already like AI driven trend forecasting. But with that, also, like, if you were just to be given all of the data, it would be so generic and boring. Like, white t-shirts are and skinny jeans are like the most purchased items in the US, for example. Well, that's not interesting to anybody who's into fashion. That just shows what the mass market is doing. So I think these AI platforms need a little bit of refinement or a bit of a human touch, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll get there though, for sure.
Yeah, I mean also, but like that's like the tool. And like you're using like your world like view, your viewpoints to like create like storytelling off of like data essentially. And I think that is what AI can't necessarily do because ultimately like a little bit like you know some of it is like your interest like oh I really like this bag like maybe that's trending or maybe that's like why is
Mhm.
that coming up for me you know and I think that's like something that is like why like you can't just like rinse and repeat like certain content, you know? So yeah, I think it's like a helpful tool because obviously, you know, you work a 9 to 5, I work a 9 to 5. Like AI does help like edit, you know, all these things that would take you like days to do. You know? So it is. Do you need formal schooling to do this or can you kind of teach yourself?
I mean, you probably can teach yourself. I am really lucky. So I have a background in neuroscience. So I picked up a lot of programming and data analysis and statistics prior. And also good research methods, which is really helpful in my day-to-day life to remember sort of the principles of good data analysis.
Okay. What is like a because I find when I'm trying to do like data research or like what did you say data organization or something that what would it be a tip for someone who's not like full background and all that to like help organize information? I know that's a broad question.
I think just always like kind of what is an easy one? Okay, seasonality.
Okay.
So, for example, something that I've gotten into a lot of conversations with about in my comment section was I will use for certain trends, like the reporting the statistic compared to last year. Because, for example, a fur coat is gonna trend every single winter. So, if someone comes into making a video and they're like, fur coats are up 20%, or puffer coats are up 20% in the last month, and it's, November. Well, puffer coats jump up in searches or jump up in engagement online every single winter. So what you're going to want to do is to avoid seasonality, you're going to want to look at the statistic, okay, comparing it to this time last year.
Yeah.
Is there a rise in fur coats or puffer coats or whatever seasonal item? So I have seen that mistake being made by some other like fashion data accounts and stuff, or like, and that's totally okay, but just kind of contextualizing your data and looking for seasonal trends.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it's funny because I had a fur coat viral video, but
Mhm.
it was funny because like, maybe you can, like it might not be good for, like, reporting because, like, yeah, duh, it's getting cold, you need a new coat. But, like, maybe for, like, content, like, yeah, make the fur coat video because everybody's looking up fur coats on Instagram, and, like, that was in November, So
Yeah, but actually, with that, it's like I think I made a video about this, but it's like if you look at the last 3 years and you pick the same days, so say like November 1st, 2020, 2023, 2024, you'll see that increase. And then that's an increase that you can report. So that kind of circumvents the whole seasonality thing. And it's like, oh, wow, fur coats are really really going viral or really trending a lot compared to this time last year. So that's like a better statistic to.
interesting. Yeah, it's so funny, like, because you did mention you have, like, a neuroscience background, like,
Mhm.
is that, like are you, like, analyzing, like, people's thoughts or, like, how does that play into, like, what you're doing right now?
I,
Wrong with that.
yeah. No, 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 no. Sometimes I'll bring in.
Degree.
Yeah. No, I think the best thing I got from that degree was like the technical side of it, like the programming and the statistics. I did do like a lot of psychology courses as well, so sometimes it is I'll bring in like self-determination theory or, I'm totally blanking on what the theory is called, but there is this theory that talks about the balance of wanting to be both unique but also accepted by the in-group. And I think that is super relevant to fashion, like being unique, but also still being close enough to the people that you aspire to be associated with.
Yeah.
So sometimes I will bring in like a psychological theory, especially on Substack. And I feel like that gives me a little bit more space.
Mhm.
The neuroscience, not so much. I'm not, because that was like a very neurobiology degree. So I'm not necessarily bringing in too much of that.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. So, okay, so Substack, Instagram, TikTok, like, what can you tell us about, like, social media and, like, your strategy and, like, how you're implementing them?
Yeah, I think I used to be a lot better at this. So the first year of doing Instagram, I think I was posting like 5 times a week, like constantly pushing out content, and that's really what allowed my account to grow. TikTok, I haven't really figured out yet. Like I post stuff and it's so funny. People like sometimes a video on there that doesn't do well on Instagram will just do super well on TikTok and then the opposite happens. And so and I know my content is kind of made for TikTok, but I don't really have the same kind of community on there, I would say. And then Substack is really just facilitated by the fact that I had a really big Instagram following when I started it. So I can't really talk about Substack growing strategy so much because I just kind of had my audience transport over there. And I'm really thankful for that. But I love Substack. It's so fun to like just really go into detail on a specific topic and really be able to explain yourself. Like on Instagram and TikTok, I'm constantly feeling like, oh, I got to get the video below 30 seconds or it's not going to do super well. And Substack just allows me to like give a bit more context and a bit more depth to the thoughts and theories and data points that I'm sharing.
Yeah, it's like the true fan space, like people who like really want to
Mhm.
hear like what's going on. No, that makes sense. Like it's interesting that you're more Instagram because I feel like lately a lot of people like their TikTok built their Instagram and then built the Substack. So
Mhm.
it's kind of cool that you to see that like because I'm more of an Instagram person. I do TikTok out of like desperation, but it's one of those and reach, but it's like one
Yeah.
of those things where that's like really cool. And I love Substack because it's like a personal like newsletter or like magazine, and you can have
Mhm.
way more in-depth conversations for like the people that, are really interested in like the stuff you're talking about. How long have you had this
Definitely.
Substack for?
Not so long. I think I started doing it May of last year.
Mhm.
So maybe, no, maybe around this time last year, actually. So 1 year, I would say. And it's been really great. It's a bit more of a commitment. I feel like if I'm in the mood, I can bang out an Instagram video in like an hour, but a Substack post is a lot more involved. So, as you know, working like a 9 to 5 in addition to doing your passion, sometimes I let Substack go because it's like I don't have the time to write a whole Substack post, but I do really like it over there.
So for everyone who's in like a 9 to 5, like what is your schedule? Like how do you do everything?
Yeah, how do I do everything?
Hmm.
Working over the weekends. I would say.
Yeah.
So even this morning, so it's a Sunday today, and I woke up and I did have a few beers last night, so I wasn't feeling 100%. So I pulled, but I have kind of my notes app. And I am consuming fashion content and thinking about style analytics all the time. So I have my notes app where I'm writing out ideas, but actually doing the data analysis and making the videos. Usually it's like a Sunday morning and I woke up this morning and I wasn't feeling 100%, but I was like, whatever, I'll just bring my laptop into bed. And I think I spent like 4 hours making content. And so whether that's like on a Saturday morning or a Sunday night or something, I try to just have like a half day as a part of my weekend to make content. And then that reflects sometimes where I don't have half a day in my weekend and then there's no content for that week. So I think sometimes, I mean, nobody notices except me, but I'll have 4 videos in a week and then I won't post for a week because I didn't have that weekend time. Yeah, and I think just being really active and like still thinking about it and writing down ideas that I have throughout the week so that when I do have time to sit down, I have the ideas ready to go.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like you're like kind of doing your research, like just casually, like being on the internet
Hmm.
essentially. And then
Yeah.
you have that time. You do like you prep your week, like you will make like 4 videos on like a Sunday or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So all of my videos, if you see them throughout the week, they've all been made on the same day.
I'm so like I try to do that, but I just get like I want to post it now. Like I have ADHD, so I'm like I'll make it and then I'll
Yeah.
post it. Make it.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I definitely have that, especially I will I will have my video ready to go and I'll be like, just wait till 5 o'clock to post it. Just wait. But then it's like 2 o'clock and I'm like, oh, I just can't wait anymore. I have to post it. And like, I need to be a little bit more disciplined because I know that it'll probably do better if I wait till 6 p.m. But then most of the time I get excited or bored at work and want to post it right now.
Does that work? Like do like because I'm like, does it work? But do the timing or what do you think? You think it does? You
I
notice
think
what's the data?
what's the data behind it? Honestly, I could find that and like my engagement rates based on when I posted it. I should find that. That would be really funny. I feel like it does,
Mhm.
but maybe it's just that my videos suck sometimes and so they don't do very well. I don't know. Like if it's just random when a video does well or doesn't do well. I notice like yeah, that you get a lot more like comments if you post it at kind of the right time, which I'm sure helps the engagement and the reach. But yeah, I'm not
Sorry,
sure.
my dog is barking.
Oh, that's okay.
He's
What kind of
protecting.
dog is he?
Chihuahua. You want to see him?
Cute.
There he is.
Hey, oh, such a little nugget. He's so cute. Oh, cute.
No, I definitely like I'll be like up like I work a 9 to 5, but I also bartend on Saturday nights, and so like
Okay.
sometimes I'll be like editing a video, and at 4 a.m. I'm like posting it, and then it's like
Yeah.
just wait until you wake up in the morning, like why are you
Yeah.
5:30 in the morning, like psycho?
No, totally. I get the same way. Like sometimes if I'm, for example, this morning, it's like a Sunday morning. I'm like, oh, I'm just so excited about this. So I'm just gonna post it now. But nobody's online on a Sunday morning. They're all sleeping. So yeah.
I know. We have to restrain ourselves. But yeah, so that's interesting. So let me look at my questions as I just got like totally off guard. Okay. Okay. So what do you see like style analytics turning into? Because like there's so many different ways to monetize this. Like I'm curious your thoughts on like what do you kind of like see developing?
Yeah, I kind of struggle with this myself. So if anybody listening wants to give me advice, I've had an offer to do, someone wanted to build me a website basically full of affiliate links. So, I talk about red tights as the example, and then they can go to my website and buy red tights, and I would get a cut of that.
Mhm.
But that felt, well, I was like, it's tempting because I would love to not work a 9 to 5 in addition to doing this. Sorry
Mhm.
if anybody from my work is listening, but that felt a bit icky just pushing like, and if they're running the affiliate code website, like, are they going to push brands that I don't agree with or an Amazon link or something like that, which I would never want to promote. And so I think Substack has been really great for making a small kind of side income. I'm so impressed and also grateful for people who pay for my Substack. I'm like, who are you? I love all of you because yeah, they're amazing. And, but yeah, other than that, I've kind of struggled to monetize it. I have gotten really cool sort of freelance projects through Style Analytics. So doing a report on, a certain set of trends that could be coming up for in swimwear, for example, for next year, and then doing a report for a swimwear brand.
That's it.
Or, a brand wants to launch a campaign, what is the best, way for them to do that? So doing kind of these freelance reports, but of course that is not monetizing the content itself. That is just like a side project. Yeah, I would love more time to do freelance projects. But other than Substack, I'm not 100% sure how to monetize the content. Also, my content isn't super. I reached out to an agency because I was like, oh, I would love to do like some brand deals. And then the agency said that my content was not brand friendly. So I suppose that's not an option. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
You're
I'm
good to
still
know.
figuring it out.
Yeah, I think like, it's funny because like you start somewhere and then you get bigger and then you're the tastemaker, right? Like
Mm,
I potentially see like when your following grows and grows and grows. I mean, it already has. Like if you have like a loyal following, like you're oh my God, I'm forgetting the word, an influencer. You know what I mean? To like a degree, even
mhm.
if it's like a faceless account, right? Like people are
Yeah,
going to this account like for a specific reason. And like usually there's a transaction or something is done after like getting that information. So it's like I could see like definitely like you could do like product stuff and like you could even like do the data and then be like here's the bag, you know what I mean, like
yeah,
which I could definitely see. I think you'd probably just talk to the wrong person because they're missing
yeah.
out. Like I think it's like a genius like product placement, marketing, influencer like route, like you know what I mean, like for that like 100%. I mean obviously I think it's good to hear that you kind of stuck with your morals and you didn't do like a bunch of affiliate links and like Amazon
Mhm.
and stuff like that because those they do generate like you could make a lot of money doing it, and but if it's not part of your like moral set then it's like I think that's smart because you don't want to like ruin that trust you have like with your audience.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like, well, even just for myself, but with my audience as well, being like, thrift, go thrift this. This is a super thriftable trend or whatever. And then to push a bunch of Amazon affiliate links would be, I would just, yeah, it's just not something I would do. But it would be really cool to partner with even like secondhand companies, where it's like, oh, I can send people, oh, you can find this trend or this piece on Vinted or Depop or something like that. Or if there's like a sustainable brand, that could be really cool. So yeah, it's just still figuring it out. I think I did a Q&A on my Instagram a while ago and I had so many people asking, is this your full-time job? And I'm like, no, I don't know how to monetize this, but thanks for thinking it's my full-time job.
So that means it's on the horizon.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Let's see.
Definitely. Okay, so let me hear like your favorite trend happening, your least favorite, you're like, what the fuck is this? And then like one that's like kind of shocking.
Okay. Gosh, I haven't really thought about this too much actually. The content I was working on today and even last week was not super, super trend driven. I know what it is. I love all of the, and this is so unethical, but get it secondhand. But all of like the deer print and the cow print, especially on bags. I found at a flea market yesterday these like beautiful cow print boots, but not
Yeah.
cow print, but you know what I mean. It's like the cow hide boots.
Hmm.
It makes me feel very guilty, but I'm like, well, if it's secondhand, it already exists, I guess.
No, I'm the
Um,
same, yeah, with fur and leather and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So
What's your
that would
favorite?
probably be my favorite trend right now.
Okay.
My least favorite. Okay, and I'm gonna explain this because I hate when you see the street interviews and they're like, "What's your least favorite trend, and they're like, "Ugh, skinny jeans." But what I will say is that has really taken off on TikTok, and I feel like it's just very gimmicky. Like, I know from my content that skinny jean content does really well because it's super controversial, and then people will be debating in the comments. So every time I make a video about skinny jeans, it gets a lot of engagement. And so I
Yeah.
feel like this trend of wearing kind of the high-waisted skinny jeans again is really coming from like like a engagement game, like it's engagement bait a little bit. And I'm like, I don't know if these girls are actually wearing the high-waisted skinny jeans. Mind you, I have seen some of my favorite creators wearing like a very kind of indie sleaze 2008 low-rise skinny jean in a way that I think is really interesting. And of course, I'll probably be saying the same thing about the high-waisted skinny jeans in 5 years or whatever. But I
Yeah.
just feel like I'm like, are you guys actually wearing this or is it just for engagement? Because I don't know.
It's like cracks me up because I'm 33. So like I was in my skinny jean MySpace, like indie sleaze phase when I was like 12, 13. I had like the
Yeah.
ratchet tail, like I had the side bangs. I was like that bitch. And so it's like, and so it's funny, like, and like the high waisted, oh my God, with like the buttons coming up the sides. Like, you ever
Yeah. Oh my God, I had those.
see? I can't, because I would wear them, like, every single day for, like, years, you know? So the fact that this is
Yeah.
back, but it's coming back in such a funny way where it's, like, controversial and there's, like, debate and, like, are you doing this for engagement or are you actually in the skinny jeans? Like, I just, like, love it.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me because it was just as controversial for, like, guys back then as it is, like, now. Like, maybe not like, you're not gonna get called like something, no one's gonna like call you like, something shitty on the street, like maybe back in the
Yeah.
day, but like still it's like one of those things where it's like, what's the vibe of these skinny jeans, you know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would be interested to see the 2025 version of a skinny jean because it's just so cemented as like a certain look, like Mary Kate and Ashley, like just like
Mhm.
early 2000s New York, like just skinny jeans with like a fucking ankle boot and like a you know what I mean? And I like can't get it out of my head, but I totally get I'm curious to see like what's going to happen with the skinny jean too because baggy is like overwhelmingly like the go-to for everybody.
It's weird, like the data, it just shows like when I was trying to do a video recently about denim trends and like denim trend cycles and stuff like that, but it was like everything is trending right now. Like if you, based on the online data, it's like flare jeans, bootcut jeans, low-rise jeans, high-waisted jeans, baggy jeans. It's just like all the, and of course that's not reflective of what I'm seeing. Like I'm also seeing just baggy jeans, but it's just like we're just consuming denim on like another level right
I
now.
think like everyone's like, wait, what are we gonna land on? I gotta have all options. Like,
Yeah.
or
I
they're
need the
like, you
boot
know
cut. I
what?
need the flares.
Yeah, like I'm a 60s girl today, a indie sleaze girl tomorrow. I'm a baggy jeans baddie like on Wednesday. Like I think that might be the vibe too, is like everyone's like a little bit of everything at this point. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's so funny. So what is to the unexpected like thing where you're like, huh, okay.
I guess actually, so the thing that I was like, this fashion week or fashion month, I saw a lot of like one-legged looks on the runways, like where one leg would be kind of a short and one leg would be a full jean. And then I saw a few kind of TikTok videos of people wearing it, and it was super odd. And again, maybe that like kind of gimmicky engagement debate, but I'm like, but where how I'm seeing it on the runway in these really kind of yeah, again, the indie sleeves like really layered looks and you have one leg out was actually really interesting. So I'm curious if, but it's so strange to have one leg completely bare and one leg clothed. I'm just curious if anybody is actually going to wear that very seriously, but it's really interesting. Yeah.
When it gets warmer out, if I see someone on the street in New York wearing it, I will like literally send you a picture. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
please,
even
please
kidding.
do. I need
Like,
to see it in real life.
yeah. I just got this like idea of like, oh my gosh, like Dumois, like Gossip Girl, like people like sending you trends. Like, does that ever happen? Like people being like, is this a thing? Like, I don't know. Like that could be kind of exciting too. Like to maybe open up that avenue. I don't know.
Say that's a great idea. I would love to do that because sometimes I get requests, but it's always for like somebody's school project. They're like, "Oh, I'm doing a school project on like jewelry trends for my fashion degree. Can you do a video on this?" And I'm like, "Maybe, I don't know." But I would love to get like, yeah, what people are wearing and people can send me stuff.
Oh my God, it's like a spotted New York City, like
Yeah.
one-legged, knee sleeves, capri, like pants on the L train, like I don't know, but like yeah, that could be kind of cool. Like style analytics like on the street. I mean, obviously like
Yeah.
not don't say that. Like, like something
On the street,
like
yeah.
that. Street version, but I don't know, like
Spotted, yeah.
kind of cool, like a spotted like what do we think of this? What do we think of that? Like very like Dumois like kind of vibe, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I think that could be kind of
Yeah.
fun because then it could be like
I would love
engaged.
that.
That would be sick.
Yeah. That
Totally
would be
send you
really
because I
okay.
see
Please
that
send me
all
stuff
the
and I'll put it in a
time.
video.
Oh my God, I'll send you like I'm the same way. I'm like psycho, like consuming, and like I'm on the train editing my videos, doing the thing, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, I'm on it with you. Okay, we're gonna create the Dumois style analytics. Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, I got like totally off guard. Let me see. Oh, okay, so we have like a couple more questions. We're getting close to the hour mark. Obviously, fashion is cyclical, right? Like for instance, I'm 33. I'm seeing stuff from when I was in middle school being like popular, but it's like digested in a new way. What do you think, like, why do you think that is? Like, is there any data, like any psychology, anything you notice about like trends and like that 20, 30 year mark and like why it bounces back and like reshuffles in like a weird version?
Yeah, like not to make it too content focused, but you can kind of see it there as well, where people just get really excited when stuff comes back from like their childhood, and it's then when I make content about, say, a nostalgic trend, then people get really excited, especially what is nostalgic to them. So for me, yeah, 2010s era is like when I was in high school, and so if I see that content, I'm like, oh, super interesting. It like sparks my interest, basically. And so I think people have the same thing where, yeah, if it feels nostalgic to them, then they're going to engage with it and they're going to be more likely to probably buy it and wear it because it makes them feel good. It makes them remember when they were younger or a kid or, whatever was going on in their life when the last time that thing trended. And then I think it's also just exposure. We all kind of want to be, you have sort of the, what is it called again? It's kind of the bell curve of how trends are adopted. And, something is going to be like perhaps right now we've reached peak baggy jeans. And so that's going to fade out in so people can adopt something else so that they can feel unique. And then that jean will be the most popular jean. And then this cycle will continue. And then people will feel nostalgic for baggy jeans. Like baggy jeans were really popular in my 20s. So when I'm 40, maybe they come back. So I think it is always kind of hitting on that nostalgia, and then also, when we reach peak exposure, we're going to look for something new, and then the nostalgic kind of brings it back.
Mhm. Yeah, no, definitely. It's like, oh, I can afford that Coach bag now. Like I couldn't have. Let me ask you like a more like personal question. Like what keeps you motivated on like a tough day to like keep going?
I think I can kind of lose motivation. I have can sort of see it in my content schedule where sometimes I'll be posting really consistently and then I'll lose it. But I think a really good idea, or seeing something really interesting or seeing something that really, yeah, sparks my interest and wanting to make a video about that, that'll kind of re-encourage me to start making content again. Perhaps I would have a different answer if this was my full-time job, but right now, I feel like this really is just for fun. It's a side project, so if I don't feel like I want to do it one week, then I don't. So yeah, perhaps we can revisit when this is my full-time job and I can give better advice on how to stay motivated and consistent. But I really is just kind of following when I'm interested in doing it.
I mean,
Sorry, that's
that's
not a great answer.
no, it's a great answer because like a lot of people feel like if they're not on 100%, it's like they're not going to even go for it or they're not even going to do it because
Yeah.
they work a 9 to 5. So like they're not even going to like attempt doing like the dream thing. And I think it's
Hmm.
like important to know that like, yeah, you can do it. But also, it's okay if you take a week off. It's okay if you don't feel inspired and like, you need to take some time, but or just do it in your
Yeah.
free time and keep it like fun and light. And I think that's
Hmm.
like very relatable and like very real because a lot of people, are in this position and it's highly relatable and,
Hmm.
helpful to know that you're not like alone because you're not making like a post every single day. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect as well. Like, I think I have a lot of friends where, and I'm sure this is how other people feel as well, and it's something I don't really relate to, but they won't do something unless they can be perfect at it.
Yeah.
And I think that is just like really toxic. Like you should just start and you should try and you should put it out there. And if it works, then that's cool. Or just, following what you find interesting and putting it out there because, yeah, no one knows what your level of perfect is. And so if you're giving 80% or you think that the video is like a B plus, then just put it out there. Like who cares?
Yeah, I
um,
mean, I would take a C over nothing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just try and if it's not perfect or if you get criticized or it's just one person on the internet, like in the grand scheme of things, do it because you're interested in it, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter so much if something isn't perfect. It's just social content. We're not saving lives over here. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely like just get it out because if you're not gonna get anything if you don't have anything, right?
Hmm.
Like, and you're not gonna get better at it if you're not doing it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like that ability to like kind of fail and try while other people are watching. But it's also like my personal thing is like, yeah, I don't want to work a 9 to 5 forever. I don't want to like I want to do like the stuff I love and the stuff that lights me up,
Hmm.
you know? And I think that's
Hmm.
like the big driving factor of like why you would want to do anything. So
Yeah.
basically, I might ask you this question you might not know the answer to, but like what is your like 5 to 10 year goals, like realistic dream, crazy, like out of this world? Like what do you want to happen in 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, this changes all the time. I wish I had like one. I always wish I was that person who had like one clear answer. I think right now I would love to like, if I could, style analytics kind of came in, if the freelance work I did for style analytics turned into an agency model, like style analytics as a research agency, and then people could come and we do research for like consumer and market research for brands and give reports. And if I could be, I love working for myself, but I also love working for with other people. So if I had, maybe like two or three other researchers and we're kind of doing this like consulting agency kind of work, that could be really cool if the freelance work took off. I would love to be sitting, front row like a Margella show, of course. I don't know how that's gonna happen, but we can have dreams.
Mhm.
But yeah, it changes all the time. And sometimes I really become more passionate about my 9 to 5 job and I really see myself progressing in that, and style analytics isn't really a part of that. So I think yeah, I don't really have a particular goal, but just continuing to work on and work towards the things that I find interesting and hope that the opportunities will come together eventually.
Yeah, definitely. No, that makes sense. I'm in the same boat too. I'm like, oh, I'm building like everything and like we'll just
Yeah.
it'll be obvious when it's obvious, and
Mhm.
no stress. Do you have anything big planned for 2025?
No, not really. I wish I had something really cool. I think last year was a bit of a slower, not slower year, but like I had a lot of other stuff going on outside of style analytics. But this year I'm definitely being a little bit more forward in some of the emails I send and some of the people I want to reach out to and some of the collaborations I would want to do on the platform. So yeah, just continuing to work away at it. I wish I could be one of those influencers who was like, stay tuned, I have a massive product dropping or crazy
Mm.
project. And I don't really have that right now.
It'll all come. I see like lots of good things coming for sure. So like
Thanks.
any final thoughts or like anything you want to like add that we haven't got to?
Actually, on that topic, do you listen to, it's like not to reference another podcast, but The New Guard, which is a podcast.
Mm-mm.
It's a different fashion podcast. And she was interviewing, I think it's the creative director of The Real Real. And
Okay.
basically, she is in her 50s and 60s, and she has had this really eclectic career in fashion. When she was talking through her career, all the different pieces felt so separate and so distant, and like, how could that connect? And now all of those jobs have connected into one um, succinct career in fashion. And so that is just kind of my hope for myself, is that all the pieces will connect. And my hope for everybody is that all the kind of pieces of your career and your life will kind of make sense in the future in hindsight. So
Mhm.
kind of just on what we were already talking about, but that's my hope for myself and for anybody listening, is that everything will make sense eventually.
I love that. No, because it's while you're in the midst of it, you're just like, this is
Mhm.
chaos. Like, how is this gonna like come together for my
Yeah.
benefit? Like
Yeah.
that's totally fair. That's like really good to call out. No, I haven't checked out that podcast, but I wrote it down, so I'm gonna definitely check it out. Yeah, and just like continuing to be inspired and like move forward and like make stuff that people really like and, share it on the
Yeah.
internet.
Yeah. Basically, just sharing what I like and hope it works out. But if not, there'll be other opportunities.
Yeah, of course. I think this was really great. I think it was really inspiring. And I think I think it's a cool way for like you to kind of show your face on like your account or something. I mean, you don't have to like post it, but I think it's like people are always interested, like who's behind the account. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Okay,
yeah, it
cool.
was
Well, this
great.
was really great. Thank you so much. I
Yeah,
can't
thank
wait to listen back and hear everything. So,
Awesome, awesome. All right, cool. Well, I'll be in touch and like have a great rest of your day. And yeah, I'll see you on the
thanks
internet.
so much.
I'll send you
Okay,
the freaking videos of those people with one leg on. They're
one
gonna
leg.
I'm gonna
I
see
hope
them.
so. I hope so. Okay, please send them to me.
All right.